Namaste, my yogi friends. Today we're going to have a long hold practice when we are holding positions a little bit longer. Try to make it as gentle as it's possible for you today. Try not to analyze anything and just try to enjoy. Find yourself in a comfortable seated position. Keep the palms on top of your knees. Roll the shoulders away from your ears. Close your eyes. And just start breathing a little bit deeper through your nose. On your inhale, your belly is going out, your ribcage expanding, your collarbones lifting up. And on your exhale, your collarbones going down, your ribcage is contracting, your belly is going in. Just a couple of breaths here. Try to elongate your breath. Inhale and exhale through the nose. And after your exhale, go back to your normal breath. And slowly open your eyes. Release your seated position, put the legs in front of you, your glutes away from the sit bones, your palms nearby your hips, your fingers facing your feet, your toes up, and start moving your feet to the right, forwards, to the left, and upwards. Your gaze is parallel to the floor, your chest is lifted, your belly button in and up. Big circles with your feet. And change the direction. And release. On your inhale, your toes up. On your exhale, your toes pointed. Inhale and exhale. And keep your toes pointed. Try to lengthen through the crown of your head. And slowly release your toes up. On your inhale, you're trying to lengthen through the crown of your head. On your exhale, you slide on your palms alongside your legs. You go into your forward fold. Your feet are flexed with the toes up. Inhale and exhale. And stay in your forward fold. Your palms can be on the mat. You can grab your shins, your ankles, your feet, or you can also keep the palms behind your hips. Try to bring your belly closer to your thighs. Interlace the fingers, try to keep your wrists and your shoulders on the same line and start moving your torso to the right, backwards, to the left and forwards, as if you are steering something in a big pot. Inhale, backwards, exhale, forwards. Your feet are still flexed. And change the direction to the left, backwards, to the right, and forwards. And try to catch your feet with your interlaced fingers. Or if you are too high, just stay here. With an inhale, your both arms up. With an exhale, release. Very slowly stand up. Your feet shoulder width apart, parallel to each other. On your inhale, your arms up. On the exhale, your palms on the knees. Start moving your knees to the right, backwards, to the left, and forwards. Your gaze forwards. Try to bring your knees parallel to each other. Your feet are moving from side to side. and change the direction. And release, open your feet, mat width apart. Check that your feet are parallel to each other. On your inhale, your arms up, stretch up. On the exhale, your palms on the glutes, fingers facing the floor. Press your hips forwards to the right, backwards to the left. Inhale, your hips are going backwards. Exhale, forwards. Try to combine the movements with your breath. And change the direction to the left, backwards to the right, and forwards. Your gaze is parallel to the floor. And release, your feet still mat width apart, parallel to each other. On your inhale, your both arms up, stretch up. On the exhale, your right palm sliding down alongside your right leg. You're pushing hips to the left but bending to the right. Your gaze up, breathe. Inhale back to the center, your both arms up. With an exhale, your left hand sliding down. You're pushing your hips to the right, bending to the left. Your gaze up. Inhale up, exhale to the right. Inhale up, exhale to the left, gaze up. Inhale up, exhale to the right. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale up, exhale to the right. And the last one, inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale back up with an exhale, release. Bring your feet closer, shoulder width apart. Your palms in front of your chest, your fingers do not touch each other, your elbows on the same level as your shoulders, your core engaged, your tailbone tucked in, your belly button zipped in and up. You're pressing your feet into the mat, they're glued to the mat. Inhale through the nose in the center, with an exhale you twist into the right, your gaze backwards. Your feet are glued into the mat. Inhale back to the center, exhale to the left. And let's do it a little bit faster. Inhale and exhale through the nose. And the last twist to the left. If you feel dizzy, you can bend your knees and forcefully exhale 2 times through the nose. Your feet still shoulder width apart, parallel to each other. On your inhale, you lifting your arms up, the back of the palms are pressing into each other. On your exhale, you're crossing your arms in front of you, your wrists not on the same level as your shoulders, but a little bit lower, your arms strong and active, your fingers together. Inhale and exhale. And exhale, you can shake your elbows, your wrists, your shoulders. Your feet shoulder width apart. Your left hand is holding your right wrist. Your right hand is in chin mudra, index finger under your thumb. On your inhale, your chin up to the ceiling. On your exhale, chin towards the chest. And start moving your head to the right, backwards to the left, and forwards. 6 times this direction, 6 times to the left. Try to be gentle and careful with your neck. 6 times to the right, 6 times to the left. And when you're done, just stay with your eyes closed and observe how you feel after a short warm up. we're going to start today with Prasarita padottanasana, or wide-legged forward fold. You might need your blocks or any big books, or maybe even a chair if you cannot go that deep in your forward fold. Remember, we're going to hold it a little bit longer, so just choose the variation which works for you today and which is a little bit easier. So you're standing in the center of the mat, your heels are touching the long side of the mat. This way you can control that your heels are on the same line. Open your right, your left foot to the side, check that your heels under your wrist. Your toes are facing forwards, maybe slightly inwards but not outwards. With an inhale, your both arms up, stretch up. With an exhale, first your torso is parallel to the floor. And maybe you will stay here, you cannot go deeper, then you bring in the palms on the chair or maybe on the wall in front of you. Or maybe you can go a little bit lower, put the palms on the blocks. Remember, you never grab the blocks, you just put the palms on top as if you're pressing yourself away. Or maybe you do not need the blocks and then the palms are going to the floor. Your chin towards the chest. Make sure that your hips and your heels are on the same line. You're trying to sink in between your shoulder blades. Your ears, your arms on the same line. And since we're gonna hold it a little bit longer, I'm gonna check the time and just get used to the pose. Try to focus on your breath. Remember, you can always use a dry breath when you create constriction in your throat, as if you are snoring, whispering or hissing on purpose. Your fingers widely open, your biceps curled up. And just give yourself a little bit of time to get used to the pose. Prasarita padottanasana. Prasarita wide-legged. Pada means foot or leg. Uttana means intense stretching. So you might observe all the feelings and sensations in your inner thighs, in your hamstrings, maybe even in your glutes. But remember that here the legs are not our priority, our back is our priority. So make sure you have space between your vertebrae. Chin towards the chest, your neck is nice and long. And hold. You can keep your eyes closed or open. Maybe if you can walk a little bit forward with your palms, but without moving your hips forward. Breathe. Remember, you can always make your stance a little bit more narrow, but not wider. Just a couple of breaths here. We're almost there. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper. And slowly bring your feet a little bit closer. Walk with your palms a little bit closer with an inhale. Lift your torso back up. Bring the palms on the glutes. Inhale with an exhale. Push your hips forward. Lift your chest up, your gaze up. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. Just a gentle back bend after a forward fold. And slowly, your torso back up, your both arms up, stretch. With an exhale, release. Step with your left foot with the right foot to the center. Close your eyes, observe how you feel. 5 minutes of Prasarita padottanasana. And slowly open your eyes. And find yourself in your seated position. We're going to do a similar pose, but this time in a seated way. So check that your glutes away from the sit bones. Again, you can use your blocks, and also you can put a pillow or a blanket under your sit bones to sit a little bit higher if you feel that you are pushed backwards in your forward folds. Open your legs to the sides. Open your legs to the sides, make sure that your heels are on the same line, that your toes are up to the ceiling. Keep your blocks closer to you in case you might need it. Bring the palms on top of your thighs, your fingers facing inwards, and start just rocking back and forth with your legs. Back and forth. Just observe the movements in your hips, your hip socket. And slowly release. Maybe you can open your legs wider. You can always put something under your hips. And slowly with an inhale, your both arms up. With an exhale, go to your forward fold. Again, give yourself some time because we're gonna stay here a little bit longer than in the previous position. Your palms shoulder width apart. You're imagining that you're trying to pull the mat or the floor towards your pelvis. And just first stay here, maybe afterwards you can go lower, maybe not. If you feel that your back is rounded too much, you can always put the palms behind your hips and just tilting your torso towards your legs. Hope my microphone stays on the same position without falling. You can also use your blocks. Put the blocks under your forearms or under your palms. Keep your eyes closed or open. And again, remember, we're trying not to round our chest, but keep our chest lifted and feeling the hip hinge movements. Just give yourself some time. This position is called Bhunamanasana. Pu means the Mother Earth. Naman is the very polite greeting. So technically we need to reach the floor with our forehead. But the goal is first to bring your lower abs, lower belly towards the floor in front of your pelvis. Toes up. Your legs are engaged, they are not relaxed. Try to melt into the pose. Try not to move. Just maybe small movements when you are going a little bit deeper into the pose, but not backwards. Chin towards the chest, your neck is nice and long. Just breathe. Toes up. Try not to collapse in your chest. Your chest is lifted. We're almost there. Just 3 more breaths. Maybe you can go a little bit deeper. And slowly lift your torso back up, your both arms up, stretch up. Inhale with an exhale, release carefully by holding under your knees. Bring your legs together. Squeeze your legs, your inner thighs. You can put your forehead on top of your knees. And head back up. Go in your seated position. 2 steps with your fingers away from your glutes. 1, 2. Your palms either facing away the glutes or facing the glutes. Your palms shoulder width apart. With an inhale, lift your torso back up, your hips up. Try to reach the mat with your toes. Your gaze up. Padottanasana. Your belly button in and up. Squeeze your glutes. Squeeze your inner thighs together. And slowly bring your hips back to the mat. Go to the tabletop when your knees under your hips. Your wrists under the shoulders with an inhale. You gaze up, you arch in your back with an exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. And when your back is rounded, push your hips back to your heels. Walk with your palms forward. Stretch. And slowly bring your arms alongside the torso, your head on the floor. Balasana, child's pose. You can move and rock from side to side. Just stay here for a couple of breaths. And slowly lift your torso back up. And find yourself again in the tabletop position. When your knees under your hips, the top of your feet pressed into the mat. If it's possible, you can also keep your block closer to you. We're going to do basically a chest opener, Uttana marjaryasana, or stretch in the cat pose. So without changing anything and without moving your hips neither forwards nor backwards, we just start walking with our palms forwards. Maybe you can bring your forehead to the mat. Maybe you can bring your chin to the mat, or maybe you can even put your chest on the mat. The block here is needed if you prefer to put it under your forehead, or maybe even under your chest. Just get used to the pose. Again, it's also a shoulder opener here. Try to just sink into the pose. Try to press the top of your feet into the mat. Breathe. Try to send your breath maybe to your shoulders, maybe to your chest, to the area between your shoulder blades. We're almost there. Just a couple of breaths. Maybe you can melt a little bit more into the pose, relax your shoulders just for a couple of breaths. And slowly and carefully press yourself back to the tabletop. Your wrist under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. Inhale, arch your gaze up. Exhale, round. If you prefer to stay with your back rounded a little bit longer, please do so. Inhale, arch, gaze up. Exhale, round your gaze to your navel. Relax your back. And with your back rounded, push your hips back to your heels. Walk with your palms or stretch. And bring your arms alongside the torso. Lift your torso back up. And you are in your Vajrasana pose. We're going to do a twist and a balance. We're going to keep it again a little bit longer, but it's still very doable, believe me. So curl the toes of your left foot. Make sure it's comfortable for your ankles, for your shins. If not, you just bring in your right foot so that your toes, your knees on the same line. You bring in Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest. And you can stay here or you can just lift your left knee up and you can hold it for a little bit longer. If you prefer to practice the full variation, then you're crossing your left knee with your right foot, your toes, your knee on the same line. You're lifting your knee up. Right now, your left heel is in the middle of your glutes. And you can work with your hand variation, either Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest or your left forearm in front of you. You dive in with your right forearm underneath and you pressing your forearms away from you. You're gazing between your forearms. You squeezing your inner thighs together. Try to bring all fingers together and hold. Breathe. It's a twist and also it's a balance. So if out of balance, it's okay, just go back step by step. Breathe, we're almost there. Just a couple of breaths more. And slowly release your arms. Bring your knee to the mat. Go back to Vajrasana. Press the top of your feet into the mat. Your palms on top of your thighs. Observe how you feel. We still need to do the other side. 2 minutes per side. So this time, curl the toes of your right foot. Bring your left foot in front so that your toes, your knee on the same line. Maybe you're staying here in Namaskar Mudra in front of your chest. Maybe you're lifting your knee up. Or maybe you can cross your knee with your left foot. Toes and knee on the same line. Lift your knee up. Your heel in between your glutes. And this time your right forearm in front of you. You dive in with your left underneath. You're trying to bring your fingers together, press the forearms away from you, lift your elbows up, and your gaze in between your forearms. Breathe. Engage your core. Engage your pelvic floor muscles. Almost there. Lift your elbows higher. Your gaze in between your forearms. Just a couple of breaths here. And slowly release, bring your knee to the mat, release your left leg, bring the top of your feet into the mat and go to the child's pose. Your arms alongside the torso. Your torso back up. And for inverted position, we're going to use Salamba sarvangasana or shoulder stand. If you have contraindications such as periods, high blood pressure, neck-related issues, then you just bring in your hips, your legs to the wall, your legs up, your toes are towards your head, your feet are flexed, and your arms in a cactus pose. Or you can also go straight away to Shavasana and just have your Shavasana a little bit longer. If you're practicing sarvangasana, again, we're going to hold it a bit longer, but if you feel dizzy, nauseous, you can always release earlier. So you're lying on your back, make sure you have space behind. Always stretch first with your palms together, your feet together. And bring your arms alongside the torso, your palms facing the floor. With an inhale, lift your legs up and exhale. With an inhale, your legs are going behind your head. If you cannot reach the floor, just from there, you're lifting your legs up. If you can reach the floor, you walk shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. You bring in the palms on your back and you're lifting your legs up. Make sure to bring your wrist as close to your shoulder blades as possible. Your feet can be flexed or pointed. And I'm just checking the time. And hold. Your hips more forwards, your heels more backwards. Just a couple of breaths here. And slowly bring your legs behind your head. And by holding yourself with your hands or bringing your hands to the mat, bring your back to the mat. You can also bring your feet straight away for the counter pose, which is marjaryasana, fish pose. For fish pose, bend your knees, your heels closer to your glutes, lift your hips up, put palm on top of the palm. Your hips on top of your palms, your feet are flexed. With an inhale, press yourself away from the mat, you are on your forearms. Bring the crown of your head to the floor, your gaze backwards. Marjaryasana, fish pose. Lift your chest up, toes up to the ceiling. And slowly release. Release your hands, turn to any side. Through the side, go back to your seated position. If you have half lotus, full lotus, you can do so. Or you can just cross your shins. With an inhale, you both arms up. With an exhale, forward fold. Your chin towards the chest, your neck is nice and long. Pull the floor towards your legs. And slowly with an inhale, your arms up. With an exhale, release, change the cross or change the position in your half lotus or full lotus. With an inhale, your both arms up. With an exhale, forward fold. Chest lifted, chin towards the chest. Try not to drop your head. With an inhale, you both arms up. With an exhale, release. And let's do our final resting pose. You can cover yourself with a blanket. You can turn off any artificial lights. And you're lying on your back, your feet mat width apart. Your palms facing the ceiling. You can move a little bit from side to side. You can stretch. You can always stop this video and just stay in your shavasana a little bit longer. Couple of deeper breaths here. And just start focusing on your breath. Shavasana, final resting pose. And slowly start moving your fingers and toes. Go to a deeper breath. Bend your right leg and turn to the left side and stay on the side with your eyes closed. And with your hands, press yourself back to your seated position. Keep your eyes closed. Your hands on top of your knees. And just observe how your body feels, how your mind feels. And start rubbing your palms to make them warm. And put the palms on top of your eyes. And softly open your eyes into your palms. Put the palms away from your face. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this practice. And see you next time.